And now we switch gears now to speak to our guest who is live via video chat, Mr. Ashoms. Thank you so much for still being with us. I mean, I have to ask, from that video, it's very clear that this young minors did make a mistake. But what led to the decision to remand these minors, and what legal considerations were somewhat taken into account in doing this?
Thank you for having me this Sunday morning. You know, it was the police that arrested them for defiling the curfew that was imposed on Jos Metropolis. So finding the state council or the police legal team to address this matter would have been most appropriate. But I was in court where they were arraigned. They pleaded not guilty. In the first place, the curfew was dusk till dawn, a 24 hours curfew. And you saw people protesting on the day that the curfew was imposed. It's a sign that they have defied the curfew. And it will interest you to know that when people protest, they do not use and wield dangerous arms and ammunitions. And when the police went to those communities that defied this curfew imposed on Jos Metropolis, they faced stiff resistance by these young people. This is not just the number. And it will interest you to know that apart from the 26 that we are arraigned, 25 more have joined the cluster. So we now have 51 that have been arraigned. And you know, in law, if you're a minor, if you're not up to 18, you can also be arraigned. You can also be charged. And because they have not reached the 18 years old line, those of them that are minors are kept in the young people's home. Because you remember that even in the Nigerian Correctional Service, there's what you call the booster station, where your minors can be worked on. They can be given a new orientation. So when they pleaded not guilty, the magistrate court adjourned the sitting to the 19th of September. You don't expect them to go back to their homes, and you never can tell what will happen. So they have to be under the custody of the police. And you know, police do not keep people for more than 48 hours in their custody. And the only place that people get remanded is the correctional centers or the young people's home, depending on their age grades. So basically, that is what happened.
Okay, Mr. Ashoms, so I'm very concerned about these children especially. So I want to know exactly what state this young people's home is in, because we have ideas of what certain young people's homes across the country might look like, considering that these are minors and that they could have been influenced this way or that, not doing what they're doing under their own volition. In what state are these children kept in at the young people's homes, and for how long will they be there?
On the plateau, we have a robust arrangement for young people, especially when they have this kind of situations. You will recall that not long ago, we have had our children that were being shipped out of Plateau State for different jobs outside Plateau. You recall that on the popular TV, radio station in Abuja, the Brekete family, you saw where a lot of parents, a lot of children were taken from their homes. You see minors 7, 8 going to Lagos, going to Bayelsa, and sometimes even outside this country. When we bring them back to Jos, to Plateau State, we have a robust rehabilitation mechanism for all of that. Like you said, they could be influenced because they are minors. So it is an avenue for reorientation. It is an avenue for them to see life from another perspective. It will shock you to know that when I went to the court, I saw one of the minors and I took pity because I felt he is very, very young and doesn't deserve to go through this path. And lo and behold, the policeman told me that that's the most dangerous of all the 21, there were 26 rather, they were paraded, that he will come to the commissioner of police's face and spit and tell him rubbish and say whatever he wanted to say. Well, after a day or two, he was extremely sober. So the young people's home might be a therapeutic center for these young people. We hope that the kind of training they've had, the kind of influence they've had that has pushed them into going against the state, that has pushed them into defiling a curfew imposed, they will change their bad and silly orientation. We just hope that this is going to be a turnaround for them as young people, and we will not expect to have a state where people were having peaceful protest. Then lo and behold, the stories were twisted, and a lot of persons took to the streets and they wanted to maim people, to force people to join them in their venture. You know, you cannot coax people to join you in whatever you're doing, whether positive or negative. People have the right to choose who they want to associate with, who they want to assemble with, and all of that. It is a constitutional right. Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, gives people the right for peaceful assembly, peaceful association, peaceful. Mark the word peaceful. Okay. But what happened on the 4th of August in some parts of Jos wasn't peaceful, because we've had peaceful protests around the old airport roundabout, which has become like our freedom park, which is like our arcade for peaceful demonstration. And a lot of people were pushing their fingers to Plateau, using it as a positive example for how a protest should be done. And lo and behold, the story changed. And if not for the curfew, we would have been singing a different song by now.
Right, Mr. Ashoms, I have to ask, because we're pressed for time. For the minors, oftentimes when they are when you're in correctional centers and things like that, and sometimes when they go into the system, things can slip through the cracks, and one of them is the protection of their rights. What is the government doing to ensure that the minors' rights and their free will, and of course, you just say human fundamental rights, are protected at this time? And you also talked about, you know, having the Plateau State having a robust juvenile system, a remand home system. But what preventive measures are being put in place to ensure that, you know, such incidents such as these do not happen again, where children have to go into remand homes, and just so, you know, the system is well, like those we sort of overlook are not overlooked?
Mark it, the children are not in the correctional center, they're in the young people's home. You can see there is a twist, there's a difference between correctional center and a home. In that home, you are given parental care in case you lack at home. In that home, you are trained on how to look at things. And it will interest you to know that the Ministry for Women Affairs and Social Development is in charge of that home. Like I told you, we have repatriated our girls, our young people from different parts of the country and different parts of the world into that home for rehabilitation, for them to have a new view of life, for them to see life from a different angle and perspective. And we're hoping that this is not going to surface again. We've had engagements with traditional rulers, with community leaders, with clergies, with the youths, so that we'll have a new orientation, so that our young people...
All right, Mr. Ashoms. Mr. Ashoms, unfortunately, we are out of time, but you have given us very interesting insight into the situation there in Plateau State. I was going to ask regarding the responsibility of the parents, but we don't have time for that. But we'll get that message across when you do respond, perhaps maybe via other means. Thank you very much, Commissioner Ashoms, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again.
Thank you for having me on Breakfast Extra. God bless Plateau State.
Thank you.